As we dive into the benefits of kindness, we will learn that anyone who is really serious about getting these benefits should focus on loving kindness outwards and self-compassion inwards. It might help to know that the judgmental mindset we have about ourselves and others always comes from somewhere. None of us are inherently judgmental from birth. We acquire this mindset by being judged by others, by our parents, by our teachers, and friends. The way to drop our judgmental mindset is by seeing that many of these voices, these thoughts in our head, are frequently not our own, nor do they reflect an ultimate truth. They are merely opinions. Most of them are taken from someone else. The question we need to ask ourselves is which one we want to listen to. So the key is reflection. We always have a choice. Our thoughts do not define us. To practice self-compassion, we can focus on 3 main things. Treat yourself as you would treat a friend, becoming more self-aware, and changing our perspective. I will go into more detail about each of these now. One good place to start is by thinking about how you would treat others that you care about. So while we can't always take away others' pain, we can validate its existence and provide support to help them get through it and grow. In this respect, let yourself make mistakes. Self-kindness and being human taps into 2 separate but related ideas. We're human, but A, so is everybody else, and B, that's okay. Rather than interpreting our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors as who we are, we can let ourselves off the hook when we might do the same for others. If a friend gets lazy and doesn't answer your phone call, you probably won't instantly assume that they're a bad person. Giving yourself permission to be human once in a while is one way to accept your flaws and remind yourself that you're not alone in being imperfect. Care for yourself as you treat others. Closely related to the previous tip, this is about being understanding and empathetic towards yourself. If a friend is feeling down, hurt, or upset, you might hold their hand or use words of encouragement. This allows you to tap into your own caregiving system to release the oxytocin, which has beneficial health effects. Use tender, forgiving language on yourself the same way you would for a friend. These gestures can lead us to feeling of self-kindness even if we're initially reluctant. Other techniques relate to being more self-aware and tapping into our self-talk. Instead of beating yourself up for negative self-talk, becoming aware of your internal narratives. Awareness is a great starting point for changing our self-talk. Use releasing statements. Maybe you've never been a big fan of positive affirmations. Maybe they don't feel natural to you, or you believe they don't quite reach your inner critic. If that's the case, you might try so-called releasing statements. These are closely related, if not equivalent, to mini exercises in self-forgiveness and tap into the mindfulness concept of non-judgment. When you catch yourself thinking an unhelpful thought like, "I'm a bad person for getting upset," try turning it around and releasing yourself from that feeling. Instead, try, "It's okay that I felt upset." Try self-acceptance. This means embracing your own perceived shortcomings as well as your character strengths. Self-compassion is about not overinflating these shortcomings into a definition of who we are. Rather, they are just thoughts, opinions, and feelings. Practice mindfulness. Mindfulness practices are a good way to center ourselves in the moment. Not only is mindfulness one of self-compassion's core constructs, but it also helps us to regulate our emotions to be able to cope with or accept troubling feelings and thoughts. Try not to judge yourself too quickly. Try to stop assuming you'll behave a certain way, which sometimes precludes the possibility that you'll act differently. Give yourself the benefit of the doubt to avoid acting out self-fulfilling prophecies. Practice gratitude. Reflecting on the things in your life that you appreciate will foster a sense of compassion, acknowledging the good that others have contributed to your life as well. From here, we can also zoom out to remind ourselves once more that we're connected to others. that we're part of a much bigger picture, common humanity, and adjust our focus accordingly. So here are some example tips. Let go of the need for outside validation. Lots of our unhelpful thinking comes from how others perceive us. If we're beating ourselves up for eating something, for instance, a lot of self-directed anger stems from social pressures, like the pressure to look a certain way or maintain a certain weight. Choosing not to tie our happiness to outside influences can thus be an act of self-kindness, reaching out to others. This might sound like the opposite of the above, but in fact, this technique is more about placing your feelings in context. When we talk with others, we realize that we're not alone in feeling pain at different times. It's an important part of reaffirming our sense of connectedness, reframing our perceived problems within the bigger picture, and building social support networks that are invaluable to well-being. This leads us on to Module 3, which is a deep dive into how we can use mindfulness and meditation to cultivate non-judgment and learn to accept thoughts, emotions, and situations.